All right, everybody, welcome to this week's Corn Belt Umpires Association Zoom Lunch Clinic. I'm Jake Samp, joined with Russ Lundquist. We are going to kind of do a Q&A type session, just a midweek or mid-month check-in with just some weird stuff, questions that have been submitted, and stuff like that. And then I got a play or two that we can talk about here towards the end. So this might be a little bit of a shorter clinic just because I didn't get a lot of questions because I didn't get the email out real early. But I did get a couple questions here. So the first question, Russ, we had a situation with ground rules. And the question was water on the, like standing water on the field.
Okay.
How should we handle that?
Where's the standing water?
Left field, within fair territory.
Outfield, fair territory. So the first thing you have to decide, well, okay, first game of the day.
Yeah, I'd assume so. I don't have that information.
Okay, so we have to know our rules, and we have to know that the home team, either head coach, athletic director, site manager, or their designee, is the one that is responsible for declaring, if you will, if the field is fit for play. And that's before the contest begins. We know the contest begins when we receive the home team's lineup card. So up until that moment, we have no say. We will not be involved in the discussions. Whether the field's fit for play. So if they tell us it's fit for play, we better have a real strong, real provable reason to say it's not fit for play once we get lineup cards. I would say that's what you have to fall on.
Okay. So we decide that, yeah, there's standing water, but it's a small puddle.
Yep.
Or something like that, where it doesn't necessarily pose a risk of harm. I mean, for spring ball, most of everybody's here has worked at Ronkin Field in Sioux Falls. I've worked plenty of college games where there's still snow on the warning track and there's a snow fence up. But in this case, there wasn't a snow fence. There's just a small standing puddle of water in the outfield.
Yeah.
So what are our options in that situation? From a ground rule standpoint, I should say.
Well, if this standing water is in fair territory, we really don't have. I mean, I suppose it's not like golf. You can't declare this ground under repair and we won't play in it. So I don't really think there is options. I think that the only thing you have to determine is this safe to play on. Now, most people don't get harmed or injured when they get wet. But if it's a slip and fall hazard, i.e., the pitcher's mound, the batter's box, you would start with that kind of train of thought, line of thinking, however you want to say it. But in the outfield, how do I say this? It's just based on the information we have without seeing it, doesn't sound like it's going to be causing that much harm.
So play on it is what we're saying.
Yeah,
play on.
Yeah.
And it's safe to say, like the situation that I was referring to, because I do know that there are high schools that we assign for that will play at Ronkin Field, because I know that Tim will put snow fences up if there's adverse conditions on the field. So hypothetically, now we have a snow fence. we just handle that with the ground rules. Ball goes in there, ground rule double, type situation, right?
Right.
Perfect.
I would
Go
maybe
ahead.
another way to think about this, or another thing to do, is you ask both coaches. You guys are aware that that's happening. You're aware it's out there. Um, do you have any concerns for your player safety in that area? And if anybody says yes, I feel like you probably shouldn't be playing.
Yeah. I mean, it gets cold. I mean, we've had games get delayed because there was ice in the outfield.
Yeah. Yeah.
It happens.
Yep.
11:30 a.m. in March is not conducive to play college baseball, especially when it's
No.
wet.
Yeah. No, but they do.
Yeah, it's gotta melt a little bit. All right. I just had this one come up last night because I told you who I was working with last night at the onset. And one of the things that we were kind of talking about was just from a game management standpoint, cycling baseball, because we had a lot of baseballs go off the handle, and they're like 2-piece bats with like a
Yeah.
thing around the handle, or we had a lot of baseballs go off the tip of the bat.
Yeah. End of the
Like
bat.
yeah, the end of the bat. And so, that was something that we were talking about. The guy I was working with was looking to move up within the college ranks. I said, one of the things that high level college assigners look for is, game management, but also, making sure that the baseball is fit for play. What's your philosophy with cycling baseballs? Like checking baseballs.
Anytime it's off that end of that bat, I'll check it. Anytime it's off a wall or fence, I'll check. Um, Other than that, I don't. I will just, for the most part, let them. If pitcher wants a new ball, I'll throw him another one. But I don't go out of my way to stop the game for a baseball.
So off the end of the bat,
Yep.
or off concrete. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. And I guess like what I do is I call time. Usually I'm halfway between
Yep.
the pitcher's mound just because of,
Right.
I mean, how much I move.
Yep.
And I just
Yep.
ask for the baseball, and I mean, I usually just throw them a new baseball, and then I check the baseball on my way back to the plate.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
When this is properly done, it looks unbelievable.
Right.
Right. It adds a lot of credibility. It just shows, hey, I know what I'm doing here. And I had one that went off the handle of the bat, and it looked like someone took a bite out of the baseball just because of where it hit the thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, that came off really funny, and it didn't come off the bat like it normally would.
Yeah.
All right. The next question I had was, how do you handle issues with score books? So there is a disagreement between books. Obviously, the home book controls, but what I was told was there was a 15-minute delay because they couldn't figure it out.
So is this in relation to what is the score?
Let me look and see if the message contained that. Unfortunately, the person that asked, no, they didn't. So I'm assuming it's related to either number of outs. I mean, score is easy. If it's number of outs, you kind of have to figure that out.
Yeah. You just, in my mind, you just got to gather all the information and make your best guess. I mean, I can't think of a time I've ever gone to a scorebook to find out what the outs are.
Right.
I just, in my head,
really...
in my head, I can't think of it. It's just one of those things where counts, outs, those things are, they're the most basic parts of our job. So I don't feel like you can get those wrong. I mean, we've all missed the count from time to time. It just it just is what it is. We're not perfect humans. We're flawed. Um, if it's something to do with how do I score something, how do I record it, honestly, I have no idea. I I've never read the scoring section of a rule book. In fact, I actually cut it out because I don't got time for it because it's not my purview. I'm not a statistician.
Yeah, I don't think we should ever have a 15-minute
No,
delay over something like
no.
this. I think the one area where um the one area where we would need to actually stop the game and figure it out is with pitch count, just because that's a player safety thing.
Yeah, and forgive me, and maybe that's what they're talking about. Forgive me for that. Eh, Not having not having a pitch count in college baseball. I'm not involved in that. Um, so I don't know. Do they tell you that you guys are responsible for pitch count? I don't know how you would do that unless that's the dispute. So we have to look in the book. Fair.
So in South Dakota and Iowa, and I believe Minnesota is the same. The teams are responsible for pitch count, and they are to verify the pitch count after each inning. And if there is some discrepancy, so say home team has the pitcher throwing 35 and the other team has 36 pitches, they need to resolve that dispute before the game can continue.
So that's
Because if they hit their 105,
sure.
then there's an issue.
And
Okay.
I mean, I guess the only other thing I could ever think about from the college world that I would need a score book would be batting out of order, only because I would need to know there's the potential that I would have to know like even 3 or 4 batters late previous who hit, because I would need to know who the next proper batter is supposed to be.
Right. Okay, I got a question sent directly to me here.
Sure.
Last night we had a situation where there was a foul ball. They would pick it up and give it back, and the baseball was soaked,
Yeah. Okay.
like they had been dunked in water. What do you do in that situation?
Definitely
Um,
get a new ball. Yeah,
yep.
definitely a new baseball. And this is in a high school world. I realize they don't have 6 dozen baseballs at their disposal. Um, you might ask a head coach, hey, who anybody got the towel that we're gonna be able to, dry baseballs off with? What's our game plan? Because that home team, of course, is responsible for baseballs. Um, so if they don't have anything that's going to help us, we we we're going to come to a sticky situation where what do I do? I don't have any baseballs to play with. Um, Break out your practice bucket. You got to find a baseball.
I have gone into many practice buckets
Yep.
early on in my umpiring career,
Yep.
Because and what I'm looking for is round and not cut, and something that resembles the color of a baseball.
Yep. The black baseball is not really helpful.
No, in when you get into these types of situations where you have adverse field conditions, Russ is absolutely right. These teams are buying, 10 dozen baseballs to get them through a season, and that's 18 games. They're playing on 9, or they're playing a dozen a game. I've had some innings where we've gone through a dozen baseballs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so yeah, getting into the practice buckets and just working with both teams' coaches. I mean, a lot of times, the team I had last night traveled an hour for their game.
Yep.
They don't want to turn around and go home. I had O'Gorman last night. Had we run into this situation in Brookings last night, I said, hey, Danny, you got 5 or 6 baseballs in your practice bucket that are decent enough for this game? Yeah, sure. He doesn't want to turn around and go home and then come back. Just do your best to find baseballs that are suitable for play, and towels, and just do your best. It's one of those really crappy situations that we've all run into.
Yep.
So you're by no means are you the first person to run into this situation. I'll probably run into it at least once this year.
Right. For sure.
Again,
For sure.
I've already run into it. I ran into it the weekend that I saw you down in Omaha with that, because that was just
Okay.
We got the rain side of it. You guys just got the wind and nasty side of it.
Right.
So yeah, that's a great question, kind of along the lines of baseball management right there. Now I got another one that was really, really good. There are some coaches are easier to deal with than others. Okay.
Understatement.
And there was a specific coach that was referenced in this text message from this umpire that I got to, that was asked to address it. And you and I have talked about this individual already this year.
Yep, sure.
So that's kind of along the lines where we're going with this. How do you mentally prepare for those types of games where you know you're going to have a tough coach?
Yep.
And no matter, I mean, Trackman could say you got 100, and they're still going to complain.
Yep. Short memory, or maybe better even said, no memory. The past is the past. I don't live my life holding grudges against people. Again, it kind of goes back to the philosophy of we're all flawed humans. I am not perfect. So that head coach is not perfect. That batter is not perfect. If you have no memory of the past, that cannot cloud your future judgment. Just, you have to do you, control what you can control, because you can't control that individual's attitude. And then I don't think you're ever going to go wrong with killing with kindness. I just be as nice as you know how, maybe even almost overly nice. You're bigger. You're the bigger person. You're the one who's neutral, who's supposed to be in control. Just do that.
Yeah. Cool. That was kind of along the lines of what I was thinking, but you're here, and we can pick the brain of Russ.
I'm just a guy.
Right. You're a little more than just a guy.
Yeah, well, that's kind of you. That's very nice of you.
We'll have to see if we can get just a guy t-shirts made instead of everyone wants to do chief stuff or everyone wants to be the chief until it's time to do chief stuff.
That's right.
Another one of those good shirts. I gotta get one of those.
You can't get one until you're a crew chief.
In
fact, that reminds me.
I gotta get one for Singheisen then.
He's not a crew chief at a conference tournament. You gotta be conference tournament crew chief to do it.
Oh, that's the criteria we're going
with? That's
the
criteria, buddy.
Fair enough.
Okay, I mean, granted, that was self-imposed criteria.
Okay, that's reasonable.
Yeah,
I think.
Right.
All right. Or go ahead.
The whole thing is you got to earn it.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't buy it because it's funny. Buy the hashtag DFIU one because it's funny.
Buy this one because it's funny.
Is it anyone can umpire sober?
Yep.
I have one.
I do too.
I probably will wear it at the series.
I'm not gonna say I'm gonna hold you to it. There we go. If I could spell it right, that would help. We'll go down this rabbit hole of fun stuff to wear to games and whatnot.
Cool.
Or fun gym shirts.
Yeah.
Because I absolutely wear mine in the gym. I like the hard 45.
I like the hard 45 too. Nobody knows what the hell that means.
Yeah. Performance gear, maybe? Nope. I don't know what. Let's just go to all products. Did he get rid of all these?
I think you have to just click on a T-shirt and you can scroll through all of them.
All right, I'm gonna stop this share here because we're gonna go down this rabbit hole. I've already decided.
I can tell.
It's a good rabbit hole.
For sure. Gosh, it might not be up there anymore. You're right.
Did he get rid of it? Oh man, that was one of my favorite T-shirts. All right, might have to message him because
Yeah, we'll have to get with Drew and tell him I want one.
yeah, I'd say Drew's got to put those back up because those were some great shirts. All right, back to a little more serious of the subject. Ross, did you see that skunk in the outfield play that's making its rounds?
Yeah, I've seen a video or two about it. It's not like it's new. I mean, they've been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah, it's just somebody decided to try it again, and now
Yeah.
it's a thing.
Yep.
And it's making its way around the forums. I know Lindsay at Close Call Sports, she did a great write up on it.
Yeah.
With a couple other videos actually. I mean, just kind of discussing the actual skunk in the outfield as a concept.
Yeah.
And she did a really nice job with that. All right. So we have a skunk in the outfield play. So we got a pickoff attempt, and he is running towards the outfield. So
Yep.
a couple things. I'll just kind of let this play through and just kind of set some of the basic stuff here. Okay. So we need to understand the difference between what the base line is and what the base path is.
Yeah.
The base, and I even mixed this up. So correct me if I'm wrong. The base line is a line directly between two bases. The base path is set by the runner, and the runner sets their own base path to the base they are either going to or from. And the
Right.
base path resets every time the runner changes direction.
I would caution you on that only because the base path doesn't exist until there's a tag attempt.
Yep, I missed that part.
So once a tag attempt is initiated, the baseline then becomes a path directly to the base they are traveling to from their physical location. And they cannot deviate from that straight line more than 3 feet.
So in this play, as soon as there is an attempted tag,
which I don't think there really is an attempted tag here. Though on the video, I saw this video that you're playing. I don't think there's actually an attempted tag. They're not 12 feet from the runner. And a player attempted play is a legitimate attempt to retire a runner.
Mm-hmm.
You and I both got long arms, but they're not 12 feet long.
Correct.
So I don't see, just in my mind, I don't see a legitimate tag attempt there.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, there is no base path.
Right, and I would agree with that, because you can't just like just stick your arm and be like, oh, I'm attempting a tag. No, you're not.
Yeah.
So number one, this is legal.
Yeah.
This is 100% legal. Okay.
Yep. Agree.
There are a couple rules that very rulebook attuned umpires may try to use to say this is illegal.
Right.
And they would be wrong. The first rule that most people I saw in the comments were like, "Oh, he's out because this is abandonment."
Yeah.
No, this is not abandonment.
No.
This is not a runner abandoning efforts to reach the next base, which is almost the verbatim definition of by rule abandonment.
Right. Right.
So no, this is not abandonment.
Yep.
The lawn chair parents would say, oh, they're out of the baseline, but we've already established no base path has been established here. And out of the baseline doesn't exist. It's out of the base path.
Yep.
And let's see here. Abandonment, base path. And it's not I think the only other one I can think of off the top of my head is the travesty rule,
Yeah,
running the bases in such a manner that would create a travesty of the game. This isn't that.
no, it's just not.
Um, running, when we would get into a situation where it's running the bases to, um, with the travesty of the game. The best example I can think of is running the bases in reverse.
Right.
I think that's in the book.
Yeah.
Um, but this is not it.
No, it's just not.
So, any questions on that? Cool. I had a weird hit by pitch last night. I was on the bases, and I heard knob of the bat, and
Yeah.
the kid wasn't, he wasn't shaking his hands out or anything like that. And one of the coaches comes on and he goes, "Does that hit the knob of the bat?" I go, "Okay." So put him back in the dugout. I grab my partner. I go, "What do you have?" He goes, I don't know, because the catcher, I have the ball hitting something." I go, "Okay. Are you asking me for additional information?" He goes, "Yes." I said, "Okay. I have it off the knob of the bat. Not a chance it went off the elbow pad. It went, I mean, a baseball is going to go separately off, or, baseball is going to go off the knob a lot different than an elbow pad."
Yeah, they react different. Yep.
Absolutely. And so this kid's standing on first base, and I go, "Do you have any sound other than bat on knob?" He goes, "No, but it certainly could have hit his hand." So I pulled the batter off of first base and had him take his gloves off. Like, we were
Yeah.
talking about this last week.
Yep.
And um, so I look at his hands, and there is not a scratch on him.
Yep.
I'm like, "All right, you're going back to the batter's box."
Yeah.
And then his coach goes, "What are we doing out here?" And I had to go and explain, one, that there is no time limit on conferences when you're
Sir, we're going.
conferring with.
We're collecting all the facts available to us so we can make the proper ruling.
Exactly. He goes, "And you're going to have him take his gloves off?" I go, "Yeah." "Why?" I said, "Because we both know that if a baseball hit his hand, it's going to leave a mark."
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and if you're in that situation as an umpire and you're not sure, but it went off the knob of the bat, you can try to go get that right away and have them, "Stay here, come here, check their hands first before we get together."
Yeah,
This
that
was just,
depends on where the baseball goes, though. What if it go? What if it goes fair?
okay, fair point. Yes, you're correct in that. This one went straight to the dugout.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. But the whole point is you got to be, you got to, we talk about you got to slow the game down. You got to slow the game down, but you also kind of have to speed your brain up. Like, okay, where's the baseball first? Because at this point in time, we have a batted ball. It may not have been intentionally batted, but we have a batted ball. So where is it? We know
Yeah,
it's foul. It's touched something else that's foul. Okay, great. Now we have all the time in the world. We don't have to think fast.
perfect. So yeah, we had that one last night, and
Fun.
I the first baseman for the offensive team came up to me they were warming up, and he goes, "I've never seen that." I said, "Yeah, we just about broke into a basic anatomy lesson."
Yeah.
Um,
Don't
with
yeah, don't say that. Don't say that to a high school kid. That you talk about confusing them.
I the other first baseman last night was telling me about his calculus final that he had today, and I go, "Dude, you are talking to somebody that has a JD and a bachelor's in political science. I don't do math."
Yeah, but he also
So
doesn't know what a JD is.
actually, his dad has one. So
Okay, well,
in that case, yeah, he does.
the fact that you know that about a high school kid is interesting, but that's cool.
He told me.
Yeah, I know. It's all good,
So,
but I'm just messing you, So.
Any other questions, weird stuff that you guys have seen? Got a little bit more time left here.
You have a quick question. This is Mike.
Go for it, Mike.
I was doing a 10U this weekend. I don't do is that much that young too much anymore. But the first baseman was putting his this whole foot on the base instead on the corner when he was taking a throw.
Yep.
And kind of blocking the base. And the one team said, "Well, that's obstruction." I'm like, "Oh, he had enough room to touch it, but he was taking up quite a bit of the base." Like, is there a really an obstruction for putting your foot on top of the base?
Do you want to answer your own question, Mike?
I think it's a safety thing, but I don't think it says in the rule that you have to put your foot on the corner of the base.
Right. Yep, you're right. So you got a 10-year-old at the oldest. So you might want to talk to daddy coach and say, "Hey, daddy coach, I bet he likes his foot where it is. So why don't you take, let's be thoughtful of each other and you take half the base and let the runner take half the base. Or if you get stepped on, what are you going to want me to do about it? Because I can't do anything about it." They both have the equal right to the base. So let's share, essentially. Let's just share. But there is no rule anywhere that says that that's obstruction. There also is no rule anywhere that says if you throw the bat, you're out. It's not real. But mommy thinks it is. So,
okay. Yep, that's what I did, but I just want to make sure there wasn't a rule I was missing.
You got it, bud. Yep, you're on it. There's also no rule that says the hands are part of the bat. And I can prove that to you because ask mom how that birth went. Because birthing a kid is an interesting story, but birthing a kid with a bat, that's amazing.
Russ, you bring up a really good point because we are in the daddy ball season, as we like to refer. And God bless anybody that goes and works daddy ball.
For sure, dude. You got stones I don't have. Good for you.
I did 10. I did 10 games in 2 days. So.
Oh, at least you're behind the mound.
Yeah. And
were you really?
Yeah.
Okay, good for you. Then maybe it's just like stealing money. What do you get paid for a 10 baseball game? And is there a time limit? Is it an hour? Or is it?
It was supposed to be 1:45, but the games got pushed back because of weather. So it was 1:20, and they still paid us $80 a game.
Dude, that's still better. Even at 1:45, that's better than $45 an hour for a part-time job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I do them once in a while.
Well, like I said, God bless you. You're an amazing human to go do that stuff. I'm proud of you, man. I'm not.
Thanks.
Yeah. I am certain I'm not qualified.
My dislike of daddy ball, Mike, is why you have me as your partner on Saturday morning, and I'm not going to the other park.
Yeah, I was scheduled for Pasley next Saturday too, and I asked if I could move to Harmon. And
we'll go have some fun together.
Okay,
that's amazing. Russ, good for you guys.
You bring up an amazing point, because I hadn't even thought of this. Like sometimes when we're doing these clinics, some of these questions get submitted to us, which please send us your questions. Like that's what we're here
for.
We are a resource.
Absolutely.
But if you're watching the stream after the fact, leave a comment, and we'll try to cover it for you in the next video. Otherwise, my contacts on both cornballdumps.org and the SDUA website. So
email, text, phone call, I don't care. Get me. I'm thrilled to answer any question you have.
Absolutely. So, but one of the other places that I go to find questions or plays like this, like the skunk in the outfield play, is Facebook forums, because they are just a hotbed of misinformation.
Oh, it's so comical.
If if I had a nickel on this one post for every time someone said that a runner or a batter is out for throwing the bat,
Yep.
I would not have to umpire anymore on just
Nope.
this one thread. It was brutal sitting there reading it, and it was comical.
Yep.
There is no, you can't call a kid out because they threw a bat. And for the rule book aficionados, no, 801C is not going to help you in this situation.
No.
801C does not permit you to call a runner out for throwing a bat. And that is the justification for a lot of people that do this. Okay.
Yep.
That is a coaching issue. You cannot call them out. You cannot eject them on a swing. Now, if they're throwing the bat at somebody after the fact, or it's not in the attempt of striking at a pitch, then we can eject them. That's an easy equipment.
But I still can't call them out.
We can't call them out. So I saw that on one of these Facebook forums. I'm just like, this is scary.
My favorite is the coaches that come into they become a member of these baseball umpire things, and just like, okay, you became a member today, so you can ask this question because you think you got jobbed somehow. I love listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
Watching it.
Whenever I decide to do it, I just grab the popcorn.
If you ever have 3 hours to kill, this is the way to do it.
My one of my favorite posts is the whenever someone starts talking about high level umpiring and facial hair.
Yeah.
I've not only worked at the college level, but I've advanced at the college level with a well-groomed goatee. So, yeah, there's some people that don't like it, but keep it well-groomed.
I got to mute for a few seconds.
Sounds good. Keep the facial hair well-groomed. That's the bottom line of that. But be careful what you find in Facebook groups because it's not always accurate. Any questions, weird plays, anything else before we say adios for this week?
I got a weird one, which I don't know.
Look forward to this.
Which I don't know if I did something wrong or what happened. So
Okay.
I don't remember the teams, but
Doesn't
it was ball 4 uncaught.
Okay.
Okay. So the ball goes all the way back. It hits the net, then bounces back probably, I don't know, probably 10 feet behind the batter's box.
Okay.
The runner obviously takes first base, but then the catcher's just like, I want a new ball. So then I give it to him, and then the runner on first base starts running all the way around and scores a run. Which then I was like, what just happened?
Okay. So what I would tell you in that situation is if the catcher wants a new baseball, there needs to be at least two things have to happen. Number one, the batter runner has to reach first base while abandoning efforts to go to the next base. Like they have to stop on first base.
Yep. Which they did.
Okay. Number two, I would want the catcher to possess the baseball. Like, go grab it. Okay, now you have it. Time. Give him a new baseball. And
okay.
as soon as the requirements for putting the ball back in play are met, play. We're on our way.
Okay.
That's a weird one though. One of the keys there is making sure that we call time.
Okay.
And calling time at the right moment. So, as soon as he touches first base, makes it abundantly obvious he's not going to second base. Time. Or I shouldn't just say him. If there's other runners on base where the other runners are not attempting to advance. Time. Give him a new baseball, and then make sure we put the ball back in play.
Okay.
All right, boys, I got to run.
Sounds good. Well, I'll shut the
Peace.
recording off and hang out for a little bit here, but Russ, we'll talk to you later.
Peace to you guys. Have a great day.
See you, Russ.